Good evening. This is the Jordan Small Middle School Visioning Committee meeting, and I would like to call it to order. And our first order of business is the minutes from our previous meeting of April 28th. Does anyone have any comments? Yes, Chris.
Move to adopt.
Can I second?
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
So
I
moved.
vote in favor as well.
Thank you, Kayla. I'm going to have to train myself to keep an eye on the screen. So please speak up if I miss you.
Don't worry, I'll advocate for myself.
All right. So on to old business. I think I would like to start by having us each express our thoughts about our tour to the Gorham Municipal Facility. It was quite an excellent tour. Their facility is quite magnificent. It's very large, much bigger, I think, in square foot than the Jordan Small Middle School. From what I recall, they have their town offices there. They have the park and recreation there. And the library is a separate building from that. So, does anybody want to?
Oh, and Pete, they do have the school on the top floor there too, as well.
School administration?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Good point. Thanks, Joe.
Yeah, no problem.
I'd like to say that it was overwhelming, considering what we're trying to do here. But what I thought we got out of that was some really good recommendations about things like flooring and maintenance. That it's not relevant to this group, but it's something that hopefully the the group that makes this happen will take into account.
Right. I think they also emphasized several times that you can't have enough storage.
Heard that from Joe, too.
That's true.
Right. Other thoughts? Yes, right there.
I really liked how they had rooms designed for specific activities, from town hall meetings to volleyball to exercise class to crafting. They really wanted to accommodate a wide range of activities there. And I really liked how they set up their studio, their TV broadcasting, so that they could live stream events, meetings, and things like that from that center.
Yeah, the chamber itself was pretty elaborate, and then with that whole studio for videotaping up above was pretty impressive.
I would just add they did save some of the original components, if you will, of the building, the student murals on the walls in some places for the rec area, and was it the woodworking in the town meeting space, and just some really nice things to also keep in mind if there's something that's worth being sure does not get changed or destroyed or replaced, to have some of that history too. But it's hard to even compare what we have to work with here and what that building has provided for the town of Gorham. That's really, I mean, the towns are pretty dissimilar too in terms of size and all, but
Yeah.
but still, it was a great tour and really helpful.
Yeah, I like the way they set up some of the classrooms. I mean, they may take a wall out in between two of them, but they put there are multi-desks in there set up, these open, so especially like for the town hall, all of the town employees. And it was a good use of space because they really didn't knock down walls of the classrooms. They left the classrooms really, but they just maybe made them larger by, knocking down a wall between them or adding walls. They did that, but the basic design of the place was, they didn't really touch that. So I thought that was, pretty smart and cost effective. But those big rooms, they had a lot of office space in, which was really, good for the people that work there, like the town hall. And they had the superintendent's office there too, which was huge, a lot up there.
Right.
But they did also hire someone to design the interior and take into account who should be working near whom and with whom, and that sort of
That's right.
accessibility.
And
too,
they
so.
said they had a wonderful architect. I mean, this architect was just amazing and just
Right.
really helped them and was really met with everybody. What kind of space
Yep.
do you want? And it was really,
Yeah, that was my big takeaway too. The architect really kind of took the needs and planned it out. And kind of what I saw there, trying to fit that into Jordan Small was like, wow. But I did take away, I wish I had taken some pictures of the mural things, because I plan on talking to the Jordan Small art teacher and seeing if that's something they can do within the next couple of years and leave it behind. I thought that'd be nice.
yeah,
Yes,
nice.
absolutely.
And I think one of the big takeaways is no matter what scale they're on, if we're a smaller scale than them, the same feeling that we both have is that we want this center to be a point of pride for the town. So, whether they use the 1930s built part and the 50s part and the 70s part, they made it into something that the town could be proud of and want to go to. So they made it into a destination, and I hope that we'll incorporate some of that feeling too into our project.
One of the things that surprised me was that there was just the one industrial kitchen, which, that we have the one kitchen in our school, but I was thinking of things like adult ed and things like that. Their intent there was to utilize that one kitchen for that, so that really opens up a lot of other space for other uses. I mean, they had the small employee kitchens, but that one big kitchen was where they did that kind of thing.
And they had a couple all-purpose rooms. They didn't, there wasn't multiple rooms for specific things. Two fairly good-sized all-purpose rooms, which was good use of space.
Yeah, I think one of my takeaways also is the fact that they specifically call it a municipal center, not a community center. And I got that sense in that, school administration's there, the town offices are there, Park and Rec are there. Park and Rec is a big part of community for sure. But I didn't sense that they do a lot of other community type things, which I kind of asked all of you to be thinking about for today is, so that we can maybe define what community center means. Because the comprehensive plan clearly states that the overwhelming number of people are looking for a community center out of Jordan Small Middle School. Now,
So,
whether we can, help pull that off, that's going to be our challenge, I think, because we do, I think, have specific needs. For instance, the town hall, it's probably going to have to move up there because of the current condition of that building. The fact that the library has pretty much outgrown itself where it is currently. Something has to be done there as well. And those are some of the differences that I think we're going to see as challenges for us when we start comparing some of these other town facilities.
Yeah, I realize the library is running out of space, but I really like that they're located right downtown. I like that the people can access it, people walk there. So, I have problems and you have advantages, right?
Right. Pros and cons for everything.
so Pete, when I saw your email asking that question, it was like, did he read the little note I scrawled to myself a couple of days ago? It's barely legible because I was doing it as I was running out of the house, but it really, I just wrote, what is a community center? And so we had kind of similar thoughts, I guess, there, because it feels more like what we've been talking about so far is, what can we fit in this space?
Yes, I
And there's
agree.
a need for more space everywhere. But what's the priority for and the best use of at least a portion of this space? And exactly that, it does say community center is at the top of the list from the polls in the draft comprehensive plan. But what exactly does that mean? And it is places for, what on this long list that we've got of the brainstorm would be something that the entire community would be advantaged by and be able to use, as opposed to segments of the community.
Right.
And maybe that's a way to try to prioritize some things in any recommendations we make, or come up with various scenarios about, well, if this is your priority to address the space needs here, this is one scenario. If this is the priority, then this is another scenario. Just some thoughts.
Right. Yeah, no, that's a good point. All right.
Yeah, so typically, community centers, I think, at least in Maine, in my experience, usually cater to parks and recreation, just because of all, it's usually, whether it's childcare, whether it's basketball, it's kind of a catch-all of all the activities in one location. So typically, in my experience, I've worked out of community centers, it's parks and rec. But I think you're right. I think the way Gorham kind of laid it out was more of a municipal complex, and each section had its own purpose.
Right.
And I liked how it was labeled as well. Like you had the nice facades, which, this is the Parks and Recreation entrance. This is the Town Hall office entrance. I like how they kind of segment that and made it look a little distinct going into it. So, that was my take on it.
Great.
Bridgeton has a nice community center, and it's over behind the Magic Lantern back there. And they use that for a number of things. One, not the knitters that were like in Gorham. The Gorham had the little knitting group that came in, but the quilters are in there, and they have senior dinners in there, lunches in there. But it's quite an active place. So that's separate from everything else. But I don't know if it's associated with rec. I have no idea.
I'm not sure.
That. Yeah.
Right. That's an interesting point too, Sue, I think, and that you mentioned that that they have a senior aspect to theirs, and I think definitely that's part of a community center. And
Right.
I don't know how that fits in with Park and Rec. I mean, Joe, maybe you can help answer. Are there many activities through Park and Rec for seniors?
Oh, yes, yeah. There's been ones where we've dedicated a kind of a wing. So in Lewiston Armory, which acts as their community center, the Lewiston Senior Group had a whole section that was theirs to utilize, whether it's cribbage meals, bingo, activity space. So, that's definitely something that's common to Parks and Rec and community centers.
All right.
Yeah, I'm kind of working out of Jordan Bay right now, so a place might bring in more people, essentially located, more advertised, and we have the seniors. I know we have the seniors.
Yeah, for sure.
So.
So at Jordan Bay, you do the bingo, obviously, but what are some of the other activities?
We have game time. We talked about having movie night. And there's a resident now who wants to have painting class every month. But
The garden.
the garden, yeah, thank you.
But
Is there a garden at Jordan Bay?
Right behind, yep.
But are you saying the only people that are involved in that are the people that are right
Basically, a
there?
couple other people come now and
Oh.
then, but not enough,
Not a very
not a
broad.
large enough percentage of the population.
Okay.
It's not a big space for getting together at all.
Okay.
Yeah, we have 2 tables, those long tables, and we try to move them around because you get people in there with, the wheelchairs or the walkers, and you have to position them because they have 2 couches, they have a piano, and they have a long board like with a TV, and so a lot of the room is taken up. So I think if we could have a place that's big enough to say, hey, we're all going to meet here, I think we'd get more people.
Yeah.
Be great.
Sue, I found an answer to your question. That Bridgeton Community Center is actually a 501c3 nonprofit organization.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's separate from the
Town.
town
Okay.
of Bridgeton.
Very good.
Interesting.
So the childcare that you hope to have up there is going to be the after-school program?
Yeah, typically before after school.
Before as well?
Yeah, usually there's pretty big need for that as well. Every town's different with transportation, or sometimes buses can't get to before care facilities, so some can't run that way, and also summer camp as well. I've seen some that have Montessori schools in them as well, I think it's more of a leased program, but yeah, it's definitely, Parks and Rec can definitely take on those needs as well.
So you'll need a regular space every day for the
Yeah.
kids, indoor space, and of course, there's the outdoor space, but you'll need an indoor space every day for the
Yeah.
kids. That is pretty much, can't be used by, and maybe during the day, but not, after school.
Yeah, it's usually so a little bit of a flow of scheduling. Usually you have your senior programs in the morning towards, a little bit after afternoon, and then after that, then it kind of clears out. Then it's the childcare, aspect, and then after that, if you're in the gym, and it's your sports, and so it's usually a kind of a shuffling of the schedule and making sure it fits with your needs. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds good.
Great. All right, ready to move on? So the next thing I had on the agenda was some of the action items. One was a floor plan of the town hall. I did get a copy, and this is it. Nathan, did you send this to me?
I had Melissa send
Melissa
it.
sent
We
it.
found it up the
Okay.
office. It's an older footprint.
Right, and there was some comments that this may need to be updated, or what are your thoughts?
Well, if you wanted it to be exact, we've put a couple walls up in there, moved some stuff around. But
It looks pretty close from what I can remember.
It's very close to what it is. You don't have it in front of you.
You want to look at it?
pull it up.
No, he's going to pull it up here.
This will be easier.
Yeah, so the front office part is the one that's had the most modifications to it when you come in the front door.
Across from where the clerks are?
Correct. Well, we put the clerk's office off to that side. That was done, 10 or 12 years ago. And then on the side where the finance director is, we just put another wall up to create another office. And the area that says kitchen, we took that wall out, and that's all the kitchen area now. Other than that, it's pretty much as it is.
Okay.
Nathan, do you know the square footage?
I don't, off the top of my head. I don't.
I don't know if I could scale this or not. If that's something everybody would like, I can easily email it to everybody.
Sure.
It's a little easier to blow up on your screen and look at it.
Zoom in.
They're running out of room, too.
Town manager's office.
All right.
Yeah, that used to be the town manager's office. We took that wall out. This is Kathy's old office. Brenda, new wall. And we did another wall right here. That's where Mel is and registration of the clerks.
I haven't been to enough meetings nowadays.
All right. So the next thing is ask Kevin Woodbury to do a visual sketch for us of what he envisions as far as the needs for the technical piece, like the broadcast studio here, and maybe what he already has at Jordan Small. I'm not sure. Kevin, you still with us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so basically, and we've been, we've been over there a lot, and we've actually run fiber to the gym because the town has a what we call an intermediate distribution frame up in the stage in the gym, where we have a switch and a wireless access point. But what we looked at is if the town wants it, if you look at the kind of the middle of that thing where it says IPTV studio and meeting center, as you were talking earlier, it's kind of a nice big room where you can hold meetings and they can broadcast, live or taped. It's the perfect place, and it would allow us to have, I think, meetings maybe between 150 to 200 people in there would be the capacity of that room, which would really help. So we don't have to set up in the gym for a limited number of people. We will still have the capacity in the gym. And the plan in the gym would be to put cameras up on the walls high and only put them in there when we had a really big meeting or an event in there, and bring that back to where if you look at the IPTV Studio Meeting Center to the right of that, there's a room called Applied Tech. That's where we'd put the current, as like you have the back room where you are now, that's where the IPTV control room would go, and the server room, which is going to take the place of the server room in the town office, and the server racks that are also currently in that back room from where you are now in the IPTV control room. So if you look, you can see, I'm going to move my mouse around here, if you can see it says MDF. If
Yes.
you go into that right now, you'll see a bunch of, what people have thought were computers, but those are all network switches. So all the main network connections from the outside into the school go through there. That's called the main distribution frame. And then if you go up here, where I'm circling the mouse, that's called an IDF, and that's an intermediate distribution frame. So from all this area here, all of the wireless access points and hardwired connections go through here, and then through a trunk, they come back to the MDF. And there's a couple more MDFs located around the school where they basically conglomerate all of the connections that are, concentrate them that are in an area in the school and bring them back to the main distribution frame. So that's where we continue to use. That's where our fiber goes in now, and all the connections to the outside, to Spectrum or whatever they have. So, and I think that room would make, like I said, an excellent place. We can have cameras mounted up high. We can have, lighting. We can put soundboard on the walls, and it would create a really good studio and meeting center. Put a nice dais in the front. And I know you guys are talking about how expensive it is, but Eric and I went through an exercise 2 or 3 years ago. We designed one that could be built, probably we could build it's called 80/20. It's a metal frame, which you hang wood on. We could get that built like a quarter the cost of what these people pay for these really expensive wooden frames. And we would put in that frame, for a dais, we'd have everybody, instead of having their own laptops and everything with them, we would have monitors there that would show what's being shown, so they could see them right there in front of them. And everybody would have a mic, and it's all controlled from the IPTV control room as it is now. So there's a lot of things we can do and create a really nice space for people to join in big meetings and gather together, and we think it'd be really good for the town. Anybody have any questions on that?
Yes. So do you foresee all of the committee-type meetings, like Select Board and Planning Board, and all of them meeting in that one big space?
Absolutely, yes. And that would allow a lot more people to come in and be comfortable and watch those meetings. I think it would promote more people participating in the live meetings.
Right.
And then, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, you probably said this, but I just wanted to clarify. So, like, all of the equipment that is currently here in the broadcast studio would be vacated out of here and put over into one of those facilities that you
That's
identified?
correct. Yep, all
Plus
the stuff that's there and that's in the town office basement right now.
Right.
The servers and switches would move up there also.
Okay.
And what the, and I was going to, I don't know if I can get at this or not, but let's see. So we have been working with Bob Hickey on what's in the building right now. I don't know if you guys can see this very well on the screen or not. So the first statement is, we plan on taking everything with us. So all of the electronic switching and gear and wireless access points we're going to have to replace. The only thing that will remain will be the wiring, the fiber network, the network connectivity that will be there. So we did that. We talked to them about that, and which is actually a good thing, because the equipment we use is way less inexpensive than the equipment they do. To give you a quick estimate, we did a calculation that the maintenance they pay in a month and a half completely pays for all the hardware that we put in for the switching components. And we don't have maintenance fees. They're covered by, when you buy it, they're covered by so many years of maintenance. And so it's just amazing how expensive the Cisco/Meraki switches and access points are. So it's actually a good thing that they are taking it with them, so we're not tied into that technology. So these are the list of cameras they have. They're going to leave the cameras, which is a good thing. Our current camera management system is extremely inexpensive and works very well. So we will just tie those cameras into the existing server, which is located now in the basement of the town office, for the town office and the portable currently. And this is a list of the wireless access points. Those will all have to be replaced. But fortunately, they're all ceiling mounted already. They have cables to them, so it's just a matter of patching those back into the IDFs and MDF switching rooms so that we can get those online. And printers and copiers, everybody's going to bring their own stuff. The only thing we have to be concerned with, and actually on Wednesday, Eric and I and a couple other people are going to go and take a tour and document all of the hardwired ports that are available in each room. And because typically you like to have your printers and, if you have a lot of things that aren't, if you have desktops and stuff, you usually like to have those be hardwired. So we're going to take a trip over there and document everything we can and where it's located. And the phones, they're going to take their phones, and they have a different phone system than we do anyway, and we'll have to replace all the phones. But here's a list again of how many phones they have. And we can, the phones are only limited by the number of hardwired jacks, and that's another reason why we're going to take a look and see and where the locations are, because I'm sure almost every room will have a phone in it. And then they also have, and I'm sure Nathan's been talking to Bill Hansen, but these are and we're going to get to the technical stuff once we start. The next committee after this will dive deeper into this, but they have some systems that they'll leave in place. But for instance, their electronic locks will, have the wiring, but they're going to take the system that runs it and they're going to give us the old lock cylinders. So until we replace all the locks with our version of electronic locks, we'll be using the keyed system. And they are leaving. Fortunately, they'd be nice in leaving the old lock cylinders with us. And he's giving us all the information of who supports their systems now for HVAC and the other different types of systems they have. The generator was there from when we had the school, and that hadn't changed. And I think, Nathan, you maybe had mentioned that generator's about at end of life.
Yeah, that was put in 98 or 99, I believe it was, and it's a very minimal. It will support the building for heat and lights, bare minimum.
Right, because we're going to have to add,
Yeah, you're going to need
capacity, for us,
much bigger.
So I was happy they were leaving the cameras, because they're really hard to climb over things and get up and mount new cameras, and so we're fortunate in that notion. Although some of the cameras may be fairly old. I don't know if because we actually, I think, how long ago it was, maybe it was 10 or more years ago, we put the exterior cameras in place. The town did, so. Anybody have any questions about the different things that they're taking and leaving?
I don't have a question about that, but I do have a question about something else, if I can speak.
Sure.
I'm wondering why you chose the room that you did and not across the hall, just out of curiosity.
Because of the size of the room and the ceilings. We wanted to have something, it's really important to have, when you're in a room that you're going to broadcast from, and light. Right now it's horrible, where it is now, and you want to get your lighting and stuff off the, the lower level where the people are. And the same with the cameras. You want to get them up a little bit higher so you can have better views of what's going on.
I'm sorry, I wasn't very clear. The support room.
Oh, the support room.
Yeah, just a curiosity question.
Because it's close, and so the person that's running the meetings will be there. And if he has to, it could be across the other way, across the hall the other way. As long as it's fairly close to the room, so that the person that's in there, he has to run in and
Yeah.
fix a mic or do something. He doesn't have to run halfway through the school. Yeah, no,
That
that
makes
doesn't matter.
sense.
Yeah.
Okay,
it
I
doesn't
just was
really matter.
curious if
Yeah.
there was a specific reason why.
No, that
okay.
was on the same level. It wasn't, you didn't have to run downhill because you know that room goes down in, if you're up top, you have to run either down the stairs or run down the ramp to get to the bottom. So it
Yes,
doesn't
there's
matter.
that.
Again, yeah,
Yep, okay, that was all, just curiosity.
yeah.
Kevin, I have a similar question, well, related to what Kayla just asked. If this space for some reason were determined to be better suited to some other need, is there another space in the Jordan Small building where
It would take
where this would
at
work?
least two, I would say you'd have to, I think there's some of the rooms, I can't remember, they have partitions between them.
Some do, yep, I
Yeah,
believe.
And if you were to do that, you'd lose the height, which is
The height,
kind of
yep.
important. But you could, I mean, there's no reason why you couldn't put it in one of those rooms that you could take the partitions out and have, because I think, and at least in my opinion, that we wanted a room where you can have more than 40 people in it.
Right.
And usually 10 of those are the people up front, so you can really only have 30 people come in for a meeting. And when I was listening to you guys talk earlier, and you said, well, yeah, we'd like to have a nice big meeting center where we could do these things and have activities that you could, have live camera, on and broadcast them and film them. So I think, that's what I was thinking.
So basically, this space that you're showing us would take less to change and for that intended use than other spaces might, and other spaces might not be quite as ideal as this space in terms of the height, et cetera.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
got it. Okay, thanks.
I know it seems like, well, you're taking the biggest space, but.
No,
it just happens to be-
I don't mean that, I don't mean that at all. It's just, trying to stay flexible in terms of trying to figure out the best suggestions to be making in terms of this.
I mean, that's what you guys are here for anyway, is to make, those decisions on how that space should be used. But as I listened to the different things as we've been going along, somebody wanted to have, or most of the people like to have one big space for a meeting area. And I think that's really the primary place to have it.
Yep.
All right.
Did you guys take a tour of the town office?
We did.
Did you go down into the dungeon?
No, Nathan wouldn't let us down in there.
You did, so you didn't get to see where the computer racks are now down in the basement.
Right.
Yeah, or I have the fun of actually, and it actually looks pretty nice underneath the whole building now because they came in and they put plastic on everything. But Nathan and I and Eric have crawled on the dirt underneath there, running
Right.
cables. It's a sad thing.
I can imagine. What's the humidity like under there?
Yeah, it's
not great.
Not great.
not great. But they did some, like I said, some improvements in the front underneath.
Yeah,
It's got plastic under there now, yeah.
In the old section, we did a mold abatement, and when they got done, they lined it all with a thick plastic.
Yeah, I've seen that done in a few
Yeah.
places.
But trying to run cables, and Nathan knows this, it's just horrible to try. In a building that's that old is not optimal, and especially up in the ceiling.
Right. Is it a full height basement or?
The part of the newer section is the part underneath the old section's crawl space. That,
Yeah.
must have been 90, I think, 80, somewhere between 88 and 90. That back section where code enforcement is, Joe's office is, that's all portable classroom that was out. They were out back here. They grabbed one of those and added it on, but that's all full height basement there. And that's where his server room is tucked over in a corner. We had to fur it up off the floor 6-8 inches because the water runs through the basement.
I used to have one of those basements.
Yeah. Kayak across the floor down there if you want.
Dehumidifier.
Huh.
Oh, yeah, that's where the record room is too.
Right.
Actually, there are 2 record rooms down there. And as you said, the dehumidifier there, the dehumidifier is going constantly in those rooms.
I can imagine. Wow. All right, does anybody else have questions for Kevin?
Kevin, I'd just like to thank you for all the work you did getting that proposal together that we looked at last week. It was very helpful.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big thing, and we're all going to be quite busy on this project for quite a while.
Yes. Yeah, thank you for tonight for presenting and giving us this information.
Yeah, do you have this drawing in online like this so you can put it up when you guys are having your meeting?
I do have a copy of it, yes.
Okay.
It's only the one that I sent you and Eric the other day. It's the same one. That's the only one that I have.
Okay, I don't know if you want it I have it in DWG format because I converted the PDF to, that format. And actually, this is Visio format that I'm presenting right now. And we converted, so we were able to convert the PDF drawing into something that we could actually use. So I don't know if you want to get a copy of that or not.
Sure, wouldn't hurt at all. Thank you, Kevin.
Yeah.
Ken, would that be a better format to send the department heads if they were to kind of make kind of notes on where they were thinking of classrooms they're using and things like that?
It depends on the tools they have, right? Because you can make notes on PDFs too.
Okay.
I don't know what, it depends what they have on their desktop.
All right.
All right, thank you, Kevin.
Ready?
So I think, right away with the first 2 presentations, we're going to see that there's some overlap in what, vision this group is going to be dealing with. So one of the things I asked for is this is a larger size of the Jordan Small Middle School. And I thought at some point, to start with, we could use one as a doodle pad to kind of start to lay out and give us a visual as to where there's some overlap. And then we can start to see things from there. So what I'll try to do, I think, is get a table set up for next time and maybe some colored pencils, and we can have like a workshop where we get to color some of this in. Does that
Sure.
work for everybody?
Yep.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
Nothing wrong with having a little color time. All right. So next on the agenda, Joe, I think this one was kind of for you to start talking to some of the heads of the other departments and get them to do something similar for us to their visualization of use of Jordan Small.
Yep, I'll send that email out tomorrow. Do you have a preference on how you want that laid out, or does it matter if they do it by computer, by hand?
I think either's fine.
Either's fine, okay.
Because I think we'll collect what we're receiving so far. Like we've got the one for the library and we've got Kevin's now. And when we get to marking up a sheet, we'll just kind of compile them.
Perfect. I'll email that out to the department heads tomorrow then.
All right. Do you know roughly how many that will be?
3. It's me, Bruce, library.
Be 5.
5.
Yeah, 5 minus
Do we need Bruce? He's kind of standalone right now, isn't he?
Right.
I guess we could send it, see what he's thinking.
See what he's thinking. Maybe he's got something in mind that we don't know about,
Yeah.
right?
I know they have servers as well, Kevin, if you're still here, so don't know if that's a transition for...
No, that's, yeah, so, and that's what, in the thing I sent out is, we have 2 primary server, will have 2 primary server rooms, and it's really important that we do, because what we do right now is we do backups locally at each location, and then we back up off-site. So if either building goes down in a disaster situation, we can recreate the other building's servers and files within, a couple of days. it just takes a while, you know, and in the future, like I said in that document, is we're going to try to implement what's called a hot spare. So each building will have a server that's running, duplicating the other server. So if you lost it immediately, within seconds, you'd be able to come up in the other building and not lose any downtime. And that's all because we have this fiber project in place that we're doing that will enable us to have that kind of connectivity. So there's a real benefit for the fiber.
Kevin, do you see anything changing as far as the safety building, or would all that equipment stay there?
No, that would all stay there. That's actually, I don't know if you've been in there, that's a beautiful server room, and that's what we're kind of hoping it'll look like, you know, when we finish up here. It's, they created, you know where the captain's office is in there?
Yes.
So right in that same room, there's another room that they put a wall in, and we've got 2 racks of servers in that room. So.
All right. Good. All right. The next item is to follow up on tours of Wyndham and Westbrook municipal centers. I was able to get a hold of Greg Post from Westbrook, and he's very excited about having us come and give us a tour of his facility. His availability is pretty much wide open, so I guess we just need to kind of compare calendars and figure out when we would be able to go and take a look at that. I'm assuming everybody still would like to do that.
Yes.
We want to try for this week.
I cannot do Wednesday or Thursday this week.
Thank you.
Is the select board this week?
Next week.
Next week?
Next Tuesday, yeah. Would it make sense to go before our meeting on Monday, or?
Yeah, I can't go tomorrow, so Friday?
I can't go Friday. I can't go tomorrow. I can't go anything this week.
Next Monday?
Try for next Monday?
That works for me.
That work?
Time.
All right, do we want to try to do something similar, Joe, and take the shuttle over?
Yeah. Yeah, we could do that.
Meet here at, I'll try to set it up, we meet here at 3:15 and
Yeah.
get there by whatever, 4-ish or whatever.
Around 4. And then, you want to go a little bit earlier, just so we don't, just in case we hit traffic? for our meeting?
Yeah, that'll be tight for
Probably
the
a
6
good
o'clock
idea.
meeting.
Yeah.
Do like 2:15 meet? Get there for 3?
Sounds good.
So that's the 12th, Monday, the 12th?
Yep.
It is.
12th.
Meet here or town hall? Here, you're thinking is better,
Actually, it's Monday, so we could do town hall if that's,
whichever. I mean, whatever's easier.
but I guess let's do here, just in case.
Okay.
Okay.
We can make the meeting right after.
What time?
We'll meet at 2:15 at the broadcast studio.
I did also take a quick look at the Westbrook webpage for their facility, and I just printed it off real quick. I'll pass this around, but these are like all the things they got listed on there. I mean, it's huge. So it's going to be another overwhelming tour of what they've done.
Westbrook's wasn't a school, though, was it?
Yeah, I think it was the school.
Was it a school?
Yeah, I think it was when they built the middle school.
This is junior high.
So, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
it
so
was a
bigger
former
building.
school.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, the public
It's a
safety
Republic.
building was new then, yeah.
You have a pool there, too.
Thank you.
And if he can't do it Monday, we still would like to see it before the meeting. Is there literally no time we can all make it this week.
Sounds like it would be pretty tight.
And I could pass on it, but I can't. I've got too much this week.
Is there any day you couldn't meet, Sue? Like if we had to go earlier next week? This week?
Friday's wide open, and, let's see. And after 2 on Thursday, the 8th. 8th after Tuesday, all day the 9th.
Joe, you said Wednesday and Thursday are definitely out.
Yeah, and Tuesday.
Right?
Tomorrow.
Yeah, I can't do Tuesday either, so Friday would be a
Friday's the
possibility.
day.
I would have to,
Well, I wouldn't be.
check on Friday, make sure we don't have any plans, but I tentatively could do that.
Friday.
I can do Friday.
Deb, you can do Fridays?
Yeah, I might be able to meet you there if it's late afternoon.
Okay.
In the afternoon, maybe that's the way. I'm down in Biddeford in the afternoon, so.
Okay.
So we're switching it, the Westbrook to Friday?
That's our backup, I think. If he can't, if we can't do, if
Okay.
Greg Post
Oh,
Westbrook
he can't do
can't
it.
do Monday,
to my
then
house Friday.
Friday would be our
I
backup.
got it, okay.
Okay.
Our rain check is kind of working in reverse from, instead of going forward.
It's a good-
Excuse me. And Joe, did you have a chance to follow up with Wyndham at all?
I have not, and I wanted to clarify kind of the action item on that. Do you want me to reach out to see more of how they are approaching this? Or do you want us to go and look at the middle school as far as their middle school and what they're thinking?
I'm not sure I understand.
With Wyndham. So we
Yeah.
want to reach out to that committee, the Wyndham Middle School Building Committee, similar to us.
Oh, so they have a project in process as well, or?
They have a committee as well, kind of similar to this
Huh.
as well, that's looking at the middle school as a
There's a
potential
Current
for
middle school that's going to turn over because of the.
community center, library.
Ah.
So they're going through a similar process.
But
as
do they
we
already
are.
have a facility as well?
Yes, but it's old as well. So it's Old Town, I think it's the high school, right?
Yeah, it was the old high
Yeah,
school.
old high school.
How
Very
far,
old high school.
very old, how far along are they in their process?
That's what I was going to reach out to. I know they formed it probably a few months before ours.
There's a very good write-up on the town's website of what their charter is. It's much more expansive than what this committee is doing. It's the whole thing.
Yeah,
It's
things
evaluating costs and engineering and things like that. But it really clarifies what it is they're trying to do. And it's open-ended.
I don't know, I guess maybe would it make sense to actually meet with their committee,
Open meeting, yeah.
since they're right in the middle of it, or maybe like a month or two ahead of us?
Yeah, I think it'd be good I can reach out to their chair and see if we can come to one of our meetings or Zoom in or kind of talk about how they're approaching this as well.
Yeah. Any thoughts? Have them come here?
Well, let's talk to them first and see what they're doing, and, I don't,
Yeah.
I'm not sure, we don't
Yeah.
know how far they've gotten, or,
Right.
If they've got any minutes of any meetings they've had so far, if
I
we
didn't
all
see
just took a
anything.
look. No, there wasn't anything
good
yet.
thought, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. One of the things that we talked about at our last meeting was getting additional clarification of the Jordan Small Middle School Vision Committee, the task and the mission, such as the use of the Jordan Small Middle School space, and also future use of vacated buildings such as the library. I did reach out to Rolf myself. I sent him an email. I did not hear anything back yet. So I need to follow up with him. I don't know if, Joe, you had a chance to talk to anybody, or?
No, not as far as the vacated possible buildings, municipal buildings, things like that. Nathan is our facilities guy, but I don't think we have any definitive plans or.
Right. So Nathan, I think what we kind of were looking at is that, our charter basically is to come up with a bunch of ideas, what the vision is for George Small Middle School. But as we started talking, we starting to recognize that maybe our mission is a little broader than that, because the departments that are coming more to the front and looking for space are going to vacate buildings potentially. And we feel like there may be some responsibility on us to include that as part of our reporting out, that these buildings will be vacated, what their potential is. So as an example, like on the town hall, from your perspective, is that if we vacate that building as part of our vision, is there a future for that building as far as there's a resale? Is there repurpose for the town? Is it demolish?
I don't think demolished. I think it's I think both of those, repurpose or sale on that one. This building here, demolish. This is sitting on cinder blocks. It was a temporary building they put in here 30 years ago. The library, I would say one or the other, sell or repurpose.
Okay.
Both that building's in pretty decent shape. The town office isn't condemned. It's just it's kind of at its. I don't even know how to approach that.
Well, you scared me a little bit with your original description, so that's why.
I think that, in my personal opinion, that building's got some potential for some other service. I don't see it as a municipal building. And I think you're right. I think the committee should look at what's going to happen to these buildings, because these all have a cost for operation. Even if they're sitting empty, they're going to have a cost to the town. So
Right.
I think that's a very important part of it. They need to make a decision of what they're going to do. As far as value, I don't know what I would want to get a professional opinion of what they're worth.
What's the cost of electric and heating of that town hall?
I can get that for you, but off
wonder,
the top of my
yeah.
head, it's not bad, but it's also a small building.
Yeah, it's not that bad, yeah. I know you'll put all new windows in there at some
We've
point.
Done all new windows. We upgraded the heating system. We put heat pumps in. I think the light bill's running in that building around $450 a month, and I think I'm guessing. I'd rather have the right number.
Is that with the heat pumps? That
Yeah,
would include the heat pumps?
The heat pumps didn't change our light bill much. The server room sucks up quite a bit of power downstairs.
Oh, so that'll be gone,
Yeah.
so. And we went into the building, the District 2.
Yep.
Right, down in Main
Yep.
Street. And that must cost some money to heat.
Down in the village,
Yeah.
47. It's not that bad, but we also keep it pretty cold.
You do, yeah. So it's not very.
It's a garage.
Yeah, but you guys work in there. That's your office in there, right?
Yeah, the front office is insulated, and where my office is in the lunchroom, we re-insulated that 7 or 8 years ago, and so it's not that bad. The bays get kind of cold, but we don't. When you're in there, you're working.
That's different. Yeah.
It's not office space out in the bays, and it's a big difference between heating office space and heating a garage where guys are working or people are working in.
Yeah. Do you think about all the heating and electric for all these little buildings? With
It'll add up.
It does. It adds up.
Yeah.
So.
And the upkeep and the maintenance on it.
Yeah.
This building is, yeah.
I remember when it was in Mr. Sears' classroom.
Yes, it was, yeah. Yeah, we knocked out.
Looks like Kayla has her hand up.
Hi, Kayla.
Hi, sorry, trying to find the mute button. I think I just want to point out that I think unless we get further clarification, what happens to the other buildings is beyond the scope of this committee. I'm pretty sure, and I was just trying to find the application and or notes from the meeting in which we were appointed, and it was suggested, to the best of my recollection, that we are just collecting ideas and options for the middle school.
Yeah, I don't think we're thinking of options for the other buildings. Just wondering.
Well, my
Well,
only
I think
thought,
that's what you mean by what do we do with the buildings, correct, is sort of a question of what could they be used for. And I just think that unless that's further clarified for us, that's beyond the scope of the work of this particular committee.
The only thought I have along those lines, though, is, well, the first thought is, if all of the town offices end up at Jordan Small, or if some of the town office ends up at Jordan Small, and that gives the added space that's needed at the current town hall, is there a way to divide certain services without it being confusing to community members which building to go to? But I'm just even looking at the list again of ideas. That could be the food pantry. That could be the medical closet. That sort of, there's some things there that are not, don't need to be at a community center that would give plenty of storage space. Things like that,
Yeah, that's a good point.
you know,
That's
to
a good point.
suggest that, because I'm just, it feels like not everything that we're thinking is going to fit in Jordan Small is going to fit in Jordan Small appropriately.
Yeah.
It might fit, but then people will be saying within a year, we need more space, possibly. So that's just sort of my thoughts as far as keeping those things in mind and trying to address, maybe there's a garbage to garden facility there, I don't know, but those types of things. And if that's a part of what we suggest, you know, the select board can ignore that by all means. They can ignore anything coming out of this committee, I suppose. But the idea is we're just trying to give some starting plans, I guess, not in great detail, but just like, this is one possibility we thought of, this another possibility, trying to take in all the feedback that we've gotten and the input from the surveys that have been done to address as many potential uses as possible.
Right. So kind of along those lines, I guess the library building doesn't seem like it's that old. Is it on a slab for?
That's on a slab. Yeah.
It is. It's in pretty good shape.
It's in decent shape.
Okay. Okay. New business I had here was, so we have an email list that I just kind of wanted to get some clarification on to make sure that I understand who's who, because we have some pretty creative email addresses on our list here that were from the beginning. So I'm not sure who. I have a list that I kind of pulled off the original email that was sent out. I'm not sure who mainracer@gmail is.
Do you want to just send
Bill, I
that
can-
around and
I
we'll
can,
put our names?
I can get
Do
that.
that.
So we don't,
I can get a name list for you.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, I can, and so we don't have
Decipher
to,
that?
so we don't have to publicly, I don't want to
Right.
publicly give
Address.
private email addresses out, but I can get that for you with the blanket on the form that you guys filled out. So
Oh, okay.
the committee form. So I'll mark
Do
that.
you want me to email this to you, Joe?
That'd be great too. Yeah,
Yeah.
just make sure cross-reference those.
I just kind of wanted, as I looked at them and I didn't know who was who, I just wanted to make sure it was
Yeah.
appropriate that we were sharing information with people who were supposed to. I mean, there was a certain group that was sworn in to be part of this committee, and
Some of those people might not.
There's
be
a lot more
appointed,
names
yeah.
on this list than got sworn in, so.
Yeah, there are 3 people I thought that have not attended yet.
I saw that.
So
That's
I don't
kinda
know
my-
if they're
was my
staying in the loop or what the deal is, but
And maybe, that would give me an opportunity to reach out to them to find out if they
Yeah.
are still interested or
So
not.
we could change the email distribution list if they are
I think it should be
no longer.
appropriate for, the people that are sworn in and part of this committee, the staff members and whatnot.
Thank you.
or 2 people maybe.
They do a lot in this place. Well, Westbrook just built this state-of-the-art pickleball.
All right.
Pickleball, I don't know where it is, but it's an indoor pickleball court. Westbrook, have you seen it?
I think the next item I had for new business was for us as a group to start to identify duplicating or existing RSU 14 and library efforts with other departments such as Parks and Recreation. I think we got into that discussion some at our last meeting, but maybe we should formalize that a little bit more and kind of put some arms around it. So I did send you all a copy of the ideas list. what the comprehensive plan had put together, then also everything off of the town webpage for government committees. Some are defunct when you start looking at them. I mean, their last agenda was 2012. So we can kind of like start to consolidate this a little bit, I think, and that would help us, I think, when we get to actually figuring out how Jordan Small Middle School, what we will end up recommending.
Do you want kind of like a list from departments about what activities are being run and kind of where currently, or?
I think that would help.
Okay.
Because I know for like Park and Rec, you guys are spread out probably as much as anybody, right? From
Yeah, we're all
Camp Hines to the church to
over town, yes.
yeah, Tassel Top.
Facilities, yeah.
I mean, yeah.
But yeah, I can get that list from Richard and our system as well, just so you can see everything that's being run currently, and maybe that'll help with, kind of piecing together where to put things as well.
And I think as we fill in our floor plan, if we see overlap, then we
Right.
can kind of discuss that
Yeah,
at that time too, and that might bring some things up.
that's what I'm hoping
Yeah.
too, that visual will give us the opportunity to kind of decipher some of that.
Right.
Pete, I had thought the same thing that you did, and it was basically after Debbie's library display. A lot of the things we're doing are unique to the library or unique to the town, but when it comes to meeting spaces, it could be anyone. So I just did a quick list of which of the activities were library, which were town, which were rec, and which could be anybody. Because I think down the road, the town is going to have to staff appropriately. So if the library's only going to expand X amount over the next 5 years, then they might want the manpower to be moved more towards Parks and Rec or the town office. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer for this, and I think that's just something they can use later. But it was helpful for me to see how much, I mean, not knowing how much Parks and Rec had been doing, it was really helpful to know that you're already doing some of these things in scattered spaces.
I did the same thing too. I took the list and kind of wrote down what I thought rec was overseeing in the library and of course town administration. And I think there's a lot of programming here that can have some collaboration as well. Like library and rec will collaborate a lot more once they're in the same building. So I don't see it as much of an overlap, but more of an opportunity to do some collaboration.
Yeah.
For sure.
So I guess I'm kind of curious, Joe, I mean, as part of our facilities tour, we went and saw the Raymond Village Church and how you guys have really kind of already moved in there.
Yeah.
I mean, how well does that suit Park and Rec, and what is your vision going forward?
Yeah, it's definitely, it has some challenges as far as, I think we talked about right now, the functional space, like the bathroom, stuff like that. So it's tough to get a wheelchair in or get to the first, second floor, and then the second floor. There's a lot of multi-levels there, so it's definitely hard for, I think, senior program. I think just using the vestry level is probably going to be the best bet as far as senior programming. And we've kind of looked at potentially moving our after-school program there, but definitely has some issues as well as far as outdoor space. Right now it's just the parking lot, and then indoor space that could take a toll on the building. So it kind of has, we talked about pros and cons. It's probably better for smaller programming as far as, like, we have chess club there. We have the all-age bingo, things like that aren't kind of, 30 plus participants. I think once you go into that level, then it definitely does not suit it right now. Some challenges.
Plus, you're paying rent.
So we're paying rent. Yeah.
Right.
So is it better to say that it's a good temporary solution?
It's good to build some of those pieces. Like we'll have age friendly, kind of their office starting there, so that'll give them some legs to do a little bit more programming, lunch and learns, anything else that we can think of there. So I think it's a good start to build all these things to then potentially move into the Jordan Small.
Okay, so
Or you
it'd
can
be
expand.
temporary, yeah, you're talking about,
It's a
yeah.
good kind of like
Yeah.
gateway to
A
that.
2-year gap, so
Yeah.
see what will happen in those 2 years.
Yeah, what programs take off, and that'll be good, though, to do it that way, and then you'll know more.
But it is nice to have the ease of not having to put in a kind of a, it's called School Dude, kind of the reservation process with the school. So that can
Right.
take some time, and we can get bumped if there's, they need the space. So it's been easier to kind of program for us there, which we had Jordan Small
Right.
to ourselves. It's very easy to kind of schedule and program.
So have you started to think about how much space at Jordan Small Schools, Park and Rec would
Yeah, I'm
take
gonna
that out?
we're gonna
I
sit
mean, the
down with
gym,
Riley
obviously,
tomorrow.
right,
The
but-
whole,
Yeah. Some of the spaces,
How
like the
many
breakout
wings?
room.
Yeah, what wing we,
No, yeah, we're gonna sit tomorrow with Riley and I, and we're gonna kind of map it out and kind of brainstorm some of those areas. Because right now we use it a lot. Winter, spring. So it's gonna be interesting to kind of see what we would use there for all year. Kind of changes our thought process a little bit. So yeah, I'll definitely get that for next meeting.
I guess the next new business item I had on here was food pantry relocation. I think just because we have already started to have some discussion on that, and I wanted to hear a little bit more what folks are thinking. I mean, even tonight, we started talking about, well, geez, Town Hall might be actually a good place for the food pantry. I have not been to the current food pantry. I don't know anything about it, whether it's suitable or if it's, off the beaten path, but.
it's on 302. Lions are sponsoring it because the director of the food pantry is one of the Lions, Gary Bebo. It's cramped. There's literally no space even for the pantry itself. I mean, they have freezers and they stock enough food for one, maybe two pantries. Their requirements with the FDA and USDA are pretty extensive in terms of inventory movement and, keeping on top of the dating. I asked him a couple questions. One was, would you want to leave the base of the church that it's in? And he said, absolutely, no question.
Okay, that's good to know.
I mean, everything from the space to the parking, somebody's just going to bash into somebody. I'm surprised it
I've
hasn't.
been in there, and
hasn't
if
happened.
you have more than two, you got to pull over here, and then when this person goes up to get their stuff, then you've got to back over here, and it's
Yeah, it's really tight in there,
a little
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
So I also asked him if he would, and this was just an informational question, would you be interested in this falling under the auspices of the town? And he said, I'd be happy if the town or anyone else would take this over. Gary is 100% volunteer.
He's been great.
He spends 30 hours a week there. It was a lot more when it was 2 pantries a month. Now it's just the one because of the space constraints. We talked about what we're trying to do up at the school and what other buildings might be available. The library was his number one choice. If there is a way to use that space, he could conceivably go back to a walkthrough scenario where people can pick their own things, because one of the problems they have is that you get what you get. There can be 5 kids in your family, or you're 2 seniors, and you'll get the same jar of juice and cereal. So if people can pick what they need based on what we have, then that might eliminate some of the items that we don't need to carry anymore and make it more user-friendly. The library is ideal with the in and out. It's got great parking, would be great.
Right next to the community garden.
He also said,
That's a good point.
he also said that, he also said that, what did he say? A lot of the clientele is from the village area.
I was going to ask that, okay.
Which
yeah, I was
surprised me.
wondering. No,
Because
it
we-
doesn't surprise me, yeah. Oh,
So he
that's
thought
good
that
information.
that would be really, really helpful too for people getting there. They do have an issue with people having to get rides.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's the people that volunteer there. So I'm plugging that on his behalf. It's a great program. I did look into what other towns do with the food pantry, and I did not see any formal tie with the town. It can certainly sponsor it, like the Lions are sponsoring it, but in terms of it being a town department, I didn't see that anywhere in Maine.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and that would save him, because he comes out in all weather with his little clipboard, do you want this, do you want this? He's in and out, in and out.
Yeah.
He could stay inside, yeah.
He also has deliveries from Good Shepherd that maneuvering in that
Oh, wow.
is interesting. I'm sure they know exactly what they're doing, but there has to be nobody else in the parking lot
Yeah, right.
when they're coming in. So, I mean, it would just be ideal for him. It would give him space, would give him some office space, or whoever took it over. And it could possibly also be used somehow with another food-related thing that we come up with.
Right.
Or maybe the loan closet, maybe.
Yeah, or he could go back to 2 days a month
Yeah.
if he found that was needed. I have people that I have to give food to, because that month is so long.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, there's a surprising need in this town.
Interesting.
That's good information, thank you. That's.
Yeah, that was exactly what I was looking
Oh,
for.
good.
That'd be a good spot for it.
Yeah, it would, in the village, yeah.
It would be a really nice thing for the town.
Especially after you did all that work to the
Yeah, well,
Walkway,
we
yeah.
just did a handicap ramp.
That's
beautiful.
Yeah.
Really nice.
Beautiful.
Very nice.
Oh, yeah.
Just did a good job on it.
Yeah, it's really.
Yeah, it was interesting. This past week, I was actually making a delivery up in Farmington, and it just so happens where I was delivering was right next door to the school where they have their food pantry. And that day was food pantry day, and it was unbelievable, the cars coming in. It was like a huge revolving door.
Wow.
So
Where was this?
if it's available, they'll come, right?
Where?
Farmington.
Oh, Farmington.
Yeah, Farmington. Yeah. Great. So next line item I had on here was compiling ideas and developing a method for reporting to the select board. I guess one piece of that is this, and I'm really open to any ideas that others have as far as how do we get this information so that it's usable information. I just don't want to dump a bunch of paper on them.
I would start with maybe a mission statement or a purpose statement,
Yep,
and definitely a visual
yep. Okay.
for a proposal.
And maybe once we mark this up or get this into a more usable format, could be part of it.
Right, because then we'll say, based on our mission statement and this proposal, that will accommodate these program services needs that have been expressed or that we know are out there for the community. And I really would like us to emphasize community center, not municipal building.
Right.
I think we'll get a lot further if we really focus on its community-driven space.
Right.
Yeah, because our middle schoolers are going down to Wyndham, and we want to keep them back up here.
Yeah.
So if we had some things for them.
Yes,
that.
and inclusive of all ages. It's not just a senior center, it's not just a little kids' daycare center, it's for everyone in the community.
Right.
I think, too, that was something that stood out at Gorham, was the way they segregated the entrances with the really nice facade for the municipal building. So anything customer-facing, you knew where to go. If you were there for a program, you were there coming into the Rex area. I thought that was very helpful.
Right, and I left Jordan Small Middle School visioning idea boxes in RES and Jordan Small, and I'm picking them up on Friday. So I'm hoping, the teachers, and maybe they've involved their students, what they'd like to see. So I'll compile something over the weekend and
Oh, great.
Right.
I'll get it to
Excellent.
you by the
Thanks,
over the
Deb.
weekend,
Great.
hopefully.
I'm wondering if we could pull it together that we give them some sort of presentation, and that can include things that we've received from Kevin and the library and any other departments. And then Rec did their own, sorry for the dog, did their own survey, and they had a bunch of slides based on their responses. I think if we compiled all that information and the ideas and wish lists all together, that would be the best way to present it to the select board.
Okay,
Yeah, we probably should do a little blurb on our process,
right.
how we came to our proposal or our vision.
So I just want to ask, are most of you feeling that this will all work in one proposal versus here's one idea and here's another possible idea, especially, I guess I'm just, maybe when I see it, maybe everything will fit just fine that we're all been talking about, but again, what are the priorities if it doesn't all fit somehow? And what are some alternatives so that, this proposal addresses these wants and needs, this proposal addresses these. That's just the only thing
Well-
I'm hesitant to
Well-
say, here's a proposal.
Well, what would be the priority? I mean, we just talked about the food pantry and maybe the loan closet already, thinking about maybe that would go into another building. The priority of what needs to be in this building, the town hall, I suspect, for sure. I mean, I think that's a given. The library, and then rec. So, I mean, and then after that, there may not be room for everything. I mean, it's
It's going to fill up.
it's going to fill up, and and certainly the town municipal, they need to be all under one roof, don't you think? I mean, we don't want to spread them out all over
I would
town.
think the town office, you'd want them in one location.
Yeah, right.
Just
Yeah.
for the convenience for the people coming in there.
Yeah. So that was the whole idea. Raymond needed a new town hall. I mean, they've been talking about it for 10 years or more. More than that.
yeah.
And so when this opportunity came up, I think, really, the town hall was top of the list.
So we started off asking the question, what is a community center? Will those three entities being in that space, if they all fit, is that a community center? Is there a place for people to just gather? Is there a place for a community meal? Is there a place for, because rec has a temporary location right now and is using,
Right.
had been using some of the school facilities, et cetera. So that, and even in the list at the very top of what you compiled, Pete, community center, although again, what is that? Recreation is there, and that does address a variety of ages. Library addresses a variety of ages. I'm not trying to say the town hall isn't a priority, because we heard loud and clear, space is needed, but I wondered if, could code enforcement be in a separate building without that being too disruptive to the operations? Just some thinking like that. I don't know. Maybe that would be too disruptive and wouldn't work, but.
Well, until we hear how much square footage town hall needs or feels they need, we don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know yet what Rec's coming back with
Right.
for their needs, so I'm not worrying about Plan B yet.
But it's something to think about, for sure.
Yeah.
Right, because I had also thought maybe that, and maybe this wouldn't be clear enough as part of our task, but if we have things that are overlapping, we show that these things overlap, and then that next group has to figure out how to
Yeah.
divide and conquer.
Right.
Because, that was, like you said, one of the things that came from our visit to Gorham was they had a professional architect who came in and took everybody's ideas, and then they created the plan, the vision, and made everything work for everybody and fit their needs. I don't know if the town is planning on hiring an architect or not.
And
I
that
would-
could be part of our proposal.
I would assume they would. When we did the town garage, we hired an architect firm to come in and do a needs assessment of what, they came around, measured all the space we have. We sat down, one meeting we had with them was to go over all the spaces that I felt we needed. And they did the needs assessment, and they designed the building we had proposed off that needs assessment. I would assume that that would be the same process with this. This would take a firm to come in and meet with all the department heads that are gonna be involved in it, with our wish list, and with the next committee, and say, this is what we want, or what we think we need, and they'll take it from there. And then they'll come back, and I would think that's the way it would work. And then it would be up to the committee and the town to whittle away what we don't do, what we do, and how they do it.
All right, that sounds good. Appreciate the discussion. I think for next time, because we're running out of time, I would like to have everybody continue to think about community center and what they vision as community center. And I think I'll try to get like a easel and a pad of paper, and we'll just brainstorm community center.
I think
And write out as many
I think
ideas.
there's one here.
Yeah, we've got these.
Is there one here?
There's one down at the town office.
Okay, that would be great.
I guess just real quick, because that's the comp plan, that was a comp plan survey that was saying community center. Kayla, was there any more detail on that survey about the community center wants and needs when you guys surveyed?
No, it was done by pom-poms, so
Yeah.
Pom-poms.
there was not any other details given, and some of the other needs for the use, if I remember correctly, off the top of my head, were childcare. Was another thing that was asked for, but no, there was no details.
Okay. Just don't want to duplicate that if we don't have to.
Right. No, that's a good point. Thanks, Joe. So next meeting is May 12th. We're going to meet here at 2:15 for our tour down to Westbrook. Hopefully that'll work out, and I will let everybody know as soon as I hear back from Greg. Do we also want to have our 6 o'clock meeting on Monday?
Well, I think we're getting presented with some plans from other departments.
Yeah, that would be good. So
I would like to see those.
So we all
Okay.
know, no meeting the May 19th, so that'd be 2 weeks.
we
We don't
should
have
try
to,
to
so
do as
Yeah.
much as we can.
Well, we
next
scheduled it for the
Monday.
22nd, didn't we, that meeting?
Yes.
So we're planning on having our 6 to 7:30 next week as well, next
Good.
Monday.
Here's
All right.
one.
Back to Pete.
Any public comments? Is there anybody on Zoom from the public?
No one?
thanks, Chris.
Okay.
Yep.
Committee's comments.
My husband's watching on Zoom.
Anybody last words? Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Adjourn.
Good. All approve? Excellent. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.